It's Mr. Hanley back with you. That video only had a 10-minute limit. And so, as I just demonstrated, if you misspell a file, explosion, whoop, you have any thoughts there, Clipper? Clipper, your thoughts? Yeah, Clipper is pretty excited for you to get this working too. If you misspell a file or if you have the wrong directory name, you're not going to be able to load it up into your system. So if we test it just without trying to play it, just to make sure there aren't any errors here, we should see that Java doesn't give us the file not found exception anymore. Okay, it doesn't play the file, but it doesn't give us that error that tells us it can't find it. The next step would be to go through and go back to the cookbook and look up the logic that will actually play the sound. I don't know if I mentioned in the first video, but just make sure you have this while true loop running. Some kids who try to run this without having an infinite loop end up basically trying to play a sound, and there's not enough time for your program to play it, so your program just quits and you don't get to hear anything. Going back to the cookbook, we do have a section in the cookbook on how to play the sound, and that's going to be a separate method in the case of our Java class. We're just going to copy that logic there from the cookbook. Say hi to Duke, jamming on the electric guitar. Duke is the Java mascot if you've never met that creature. I won't give it a gender because it's pretty clear that it's not necessarily gender based here. And we'll come back to NetBeans. We're going to put the method above or below the other methods. We certainly can't put it inside the other methods. That's not how Java works. So we set the frame position to 0 and start the sound to play, and it will play. We're going to go ahead and call that method from within choice 9 of the menu. I'll change that right now. To invoke a method in Java, play sound is all you have to do. Don't use the public static void main. It happens to be that mine's called error sound. Whatever your sound clip is called, that's the name you want to use here. Don't use the F. Leave the files as just the letter F at the end. Please don't mix those two up, because files are temporary. We just open up a file and extract the audio input stream. That's the only thing we do with that variable. It's not used throughout the rest of the program. This is the variable that needs to be used to play sounds, and that's why I made it a global variable. I put it above the method so it would be global. Okay, so we should be able to hear a sound. Let's run this thing. Choose option 9, and hopefully we'll hear an explosion. Could be kind of exciting. Okay, there's my output window. All right, choose option 9. Whoa, let's hear it again. Oop, then hit a 9. Whoa, third time's a charm. Yeah, pretty cool. It's exploding because that's a WAV file I found on the internet or my computer and saved it to my local directory. Common mistakes, misspelling this, getting the directory messed up, putting in the build classes folder. It's very frustrating. Even when I'm there in school to help you, it's frustrating. And because of our circumstances, I can't be there to help you. So give yourself some time. Sometimes you have to walk away from your computer, take a deep breath. You have to be very good at files and extensions and things like that. So if you're not that disciplined, about, hey, I got to get this, directory right of the project, and I've got to get this particular sound in the sounds folder, and it's got to have the WAV extension and all that. As I mentioned in the previous video, do not just rename the extension to .wav from something else. That doesn't change the nature of the file. And of course, you're going to be playing randomly one of 5 sound clips. And so we're going to talk in later, in the class, hey, how do we set up random numbers, and how do we generate a number from either 0 to 4 or 1 to 5 and get that going? So we should be able to choose 9 and hear different sounds each time. Right now, we're always going to hear the same sound. And again, if this sound doesn't play at all, That is to say, if you go to play the sound and Java just ignores you and there's no errors, that's because that's a sound that's encoded in a way that Java cannot understand. So just because it has a .wave extension doesn't mean it's been encoded in the same way internally. So that is another struggle that people run into. Oh, I did everything right, nothing plays. Okay, well, there is a section on my website called Waves That Work. So that's you can 4 sound files I absolutely know that work. We've used them for years. Put those in your program. You're guaranteed to get them going. Um, big waves, not a good idea. They'll just run the computer out of memory or just take so long to load up. So that's not gonna do it for you. Okay, well, this is a part of the loop practice. At least get you a little further along, getting you to be able to play waves. Then we have to talk about how to randomly play waves, and that's something we'll have to go over when we learn about random numbers. Thank you, Mr. Hanley out.